Snap Construction can fix it all. Stop the heat from leaking out and save. Call 612-333-SNAP or visit snapconstruction.com for your free infrared energy inspection. Install with Snap Construction and qualify for over $750 in rebates and incentives. State and city programs are now offering 0% financing for qualifying insulation upgrades. So call Snap Construction for your free insulation energy consultation and start saving on your energy bills. Call 612-333-SNAP. That's 612-333-SNAP. Or visit snapconstruction.com. Snap Construction is arguably the most well-reviewed insulation and exterior contractor in the metro area. Visit snapconstruction.com.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Howl! Take care of your community by joining Metro Transit's Adopt a Stop program. Show your community pride by adopting a transit stop. Join us in helping keep the stop and your neighborhood beautiful and report any maintenance needs to us. We'll put a sign at the stop recognizing your efforts. Plus, you'll get 10 free rides every month. Get details at metrotransit.org/adopt. Again, adopt a stop for Metro Transit.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Peehee, and thank you for your support.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for clear skies tonight with a low around 17, Friday sunny with a high near 45, and Saturday partly sunny with a high around 43. Cafe Latte is a hot spot for American eats and house-made desserts in a cafeteria-style setup plus a pizza and wine bar. Cafe Latte believes ingredients matter, so that's why they never use artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives. Dine in at the restaurant off Victoria and Grand at St. Paul or place a takeout order at cafelatte.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot, and we discuss local and national Native news and events. I'm here with Ogama and Zoe, and we got some guests coming on. And Ogama, as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
And this portion of the show is brought to you by MN 350, a grassroots organization fighting for climate justice. I should say this portion of the show is supported by MN 350. They've been a really great organization and a longtime sponsor here at Native Roots Radio. So happy to have them as somebody supporting us. So today, Robert, we are talking about Prayer Ride 2023. And I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about that and our guest that will be coming on talking about that as well.
Right. And then later on, Robert Lilligren talking about some stuff that's happening all over here in the Twin Cities and Turtle Island. And I ran into Robert for a few moments at the Capitol a couple days ago. Great news for his organization. We'll be talking about that and some national things. Ogama, before we get going here, was I supposed to tell Zoe to say that this portion is brought to you by? Because I missed that. I think I missed that.
Oh, that's okay. I think we go with the flow. It's all good. I can save my own portion this time. That's okay.
Cool. And so one thing before you talk about the show a little bit before our guests come on, I just want to say that, one of the most bizarre things that are happening in our country here, meaning the United States, Ogama, is, we have the Republicans that are so anti-drag, trans, and all this, but they're not anti-guns in school. It's just wearing hard on me because I'm a former high school teacher, and I just wanted to say that to start out the program here is that it's very upsetting that the other side of the table is really working smoke and mirrors with all these other things that don't matter, and we should really be taking care of some kind of gun control, or at least get the guns out of hands of people that should not have them. So I just had to say that in the top of the show.
That is something we could do an entire show about common sense gun control. a week-long saga about, the problems with gun control and protecting our students and our young ones here in the U.S. And, what a lot of other countries are able to do that we just won't seem to implement here. So it's something that honestly it's making me consider pulling my middle schooler and possibly sending her to online school or homeschool, because I just I'm worried for her safety.
Yeah, I hear you. Hey, let's talk a little bit about the show. It looks like our guests are here, Ogama.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just going to briefly mute them as they get set up. Today, we are talking about Prayer Horse Ride 2023, which is coming together ride for healing, strength, awareness, prayer, and unity in honor and remembrance of journalist Myron Dewey, to bring awareness to Peehee Mu'huh, also known as Thacker Pass, and the lithium mine that was just recently put through by the federal government into that sacred area, to bring awareness for our missing and murdered indigenous women and people, and to bring awareness to sacred places, as well as protect indigenous freedoms, and to bring awareness about a bombing range expansion at NAS Fallon. So tonight we have two wonderful guests, Josh Dini from the Walker River Paiute Tribe, an AIM Nevada member, alongside Gary McKinny from Duck Valley, who is also an AIM Nevada member. Welcome to you both. I'm going to unmute you if you're ready to speak, and let us know where you're at, where the ride started.
Hey, I just want to jump in, Ogama, real quick, and now I'm going to cough. Is that I just want to say, when I went to Standing Rock, the 4 or 5 times that I went out there, the first person I met was Myron, and he handed me didn't just hand me, but I had to fill out some paperwork to get a media pass at Standing Rock. So our hearts are out with the family and you guys. So welcome again to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake.
Oh, thank you for having us on. It's an honor.
Yeah, it's our honor too.
Coming to you from the out Nevada Paiute territory. I come from Duck Valley. With me today is Joshua Dini. I want to share some space with the brother and allow him to explain a little bit about the horse ride and where the vision comes from.
Peehee Mu'huh, Joshua Dini. I'm from the Walker River Paiute Tribe. Myron Dewey was my older brother, and we had many talks of this vision of our people. And we were in Standing Rock together. We did other land and land protection, food. We protected our food source that was being cut down. And so my brother and I would always talk about how we would bring our communities together and how we could stand together. And so the vision kind of came from, or the idea kind of came from the Dakota 38 with the horses. Our original ways is running. That's how we got our messages across, was running from tribe to tribe. But we want to do something with the horses because as we evolved, we became, very good horse people. So my brother passed away 2021, and in honor of him, I wanted to continue that vision that we'd always talked about. And so we did our first prayer ride last year last May, and our people are known as is known for the ghost dance. Our prophet Wovoka came from our area. We've always talked about our sacred sites and how nobody stands for them and protects the sacred site and our medicines and our tradition and our culture. And so we talked about those ways of how our prophet Wovoka was going around he had of the ghost dance, so bringing people together so they could stand strong and protect those sacred sites. And this is our second year. It's very, very amazing to see all the people that are here. I'm very proud. I know my brother is really proud. And got a train coming. Sorry. I think everybody that's out there
We're just gonna pop you on mute for a minute till that train passes, and we'll talk a little bit about, the legacy of Myron Dewey, who's somebody, I unfortunately didn't get to meet your brother in person before he passed, but I know what he stood for, and some of the things that so many people credit Myron Dewey with the reason that they do the work that they do. And I think that is so important to recognize as well. That legacy that he left for us is so many people doing that work.
Hey, Ogama, why don't we take a break here in a couple seconds here, and then we'll get back to these warriors and talk more, and we can get you to set up some of the things that they said if our listening audience didn't hear. So, hey, you're listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and we'll be right back after this short break. Please stay with us. Boost your immunity and help protect your community. COVID-19 is still here, but it's not too late to get your booster. Staying up to date with vaccines can help build protection that has decreased since your last shot and provide better protection against newer variants. Boosters are an important part of protecting yourself from getting seriously ill from COVID-19. To learn more and schedule your appointment, visit ramseycounty.us/COVID vaccine. ramseycounty.us/COVID vaccine.
Your Blue Line Extension Project wants to hear from you. We are working on extending the Blue Line light rail into North Minneapolis, Robbinsdale, Crystal, and Brooklyn Park, and connecting it to our growing transit system. Tell us about your neighborhood, your business, your family, and what you need from your Blue Line. Learn more and share more of your story at yourblueline.org. That's yourblueline.org.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Unwanted sexting or photos, inappropriate jokes, even tickling or wrestling can feel like a violation. Catcalling, cornering, or groping, getting them drunk or high for sex, recording sexual acts without permission, hurting someone because of their sexual orientation, raping a family member, a child, a date, a friend, a stranger, purchasing a human being for sex. You make the choice every single time. Sexual violence is many things. Make a choice. Do not do it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio. This is Spirit from Reservation Dogs. Get up and listen.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This segment of the show is supported by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Well, Ogama, we got some guests here, some real true warriors out here doing a good thing. Let's get them back on the air, and maybe you can reintroduce them now.
Josh.
Now you're muted, Ogama.
That's the kind of day we're having. Today we have Josh Dini from the Walker River Paiute tribe and a member of AIM Nevada, as alongside Gary McKinny from Duck Valley and also an AIM Nevada member. And these two gentlemen have organized a prayer ride for 2023, a horse ride going through kind of the Southwest through Nevada. And this ride is in remembrance of Myron Dewey, but also to bring awareness to Peehee Mu'huh, also known as Thacker Pass, which has been the site of an ongoing battle for protecting of sacred space against a lithium mine that the federal government unfortunately did not honor, and that mine has begun construction, which is just deeply hurtful. So welcome back, Josh and Gary, and if you don't mind letting our guests know where your ride started and where you're going to. How many miles is this?
Yeah, the ride started on my reservation, the Thurs Walker River Paiute tribe. We're hitting 6-7 communities in between. It's a 230-mile ride. And this ride is to bring awareness of the issues that we're facing here in Nevada. I'm not going to elaborate on the Peehee Mu'huh, that's Brother Gary's piece there, but I will mention about the bombing range expansion, which it's known as Top Gun Naval Air Station. Our tribe already agreed with the proposal. Our tribe received money and land. Land amount was $8,375. The expansion of what they are at now is 575 acres more airspace and land space. I believe that this is the reason why my brother was killed, because the last live that he did was he was talking about the bombing range expansion and bringing them out all the issues that was occurring. And so, as a tribe, we face many issues because of our constitution and our loopholes that we have. And so our issue with us is the consultation that we have. The companies that come in and they say they talk with one council member or one tribal member, and that's all they need to move forward with these mining or expansions or whatever they got going on, and they want to fast track it, so they don't consult with the community, which I feel that is very important, because a lot of people in our community knows the significant sites of our land, where those sacred sites are at, and the medicines and how we harvest them. And I just want to thank you guys for having us on, and that's my piece. And just thank you for your support.
Yeah, I just want to elaborate, if I can, really quickly too, for some of our guests. Myron Dewey passed away in 2021 in a tragic accident, in a vehicle accident near Yamba, Nevada, and he was just 49. And there have been people who have called some attention to, some of the supposed facts around his death, and what he was covering was that bombing range expansion. And I don't think you're alone by any means in your suspicions on that. And I didn't know Myron, but I knew what he was doing at that time. And I personally have my own suspicions. And, there's that danger when you're a Native person and you're a media person on top of it, depending on whose feathers you ruffle, what could happen. So, Gary, if you wanted to share a little bit more about Peehee Mu'huh, I think that's what you were going to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for having us on the Peehee Mu'huh. First I'm gonna introduce myself for those who don't know what's going on with the Thacker Pass thing. I'll briefly get into that. My name is Gary McKinny. I'm from the Duck Valley Shoshone Paiute tribe. My mom is from the Fort McDermott Paiute Shoshone tribe, and our tribes, the Duck Valley and the McDermott tribe, we share a lot of the same history, a lot of the same sites, and it was only until the colonized times that we were set in boundaries and we were set inside these reservations. And ever since then, we've been having this issue with being talked down to in a way, and with this Thacker Pass thing, from experiences that us as indigenous tribes need to be aware about what these foreign mining companies are up to, and we bring that information in a good way through this prayer and through each other and through unity and awareness. We can no longer say that we never knew what was going on, because one thing that I've seen is that these extractive industries love to single out the tribes, and we've seen that happen with the Thacker Pass and the Fort McDermott Paiute Shoshones. And all of us are in solidarity with many of these movements, many of these prayer circles around Turtle Island, and we're one of many. And with this Peehee Mu'huh thing, to get into the history, the Peehee Mu'huh roughly translates to rotten moon, and it's part of an intertribal conflict. But then in the lawsuit, you hear in the papers, you'll see in the news about the September 12th, 1865 massacre, and the history that will describe is where our history meets the colonized history with Wells Fargo Company and our tribes and our reservations, and there was a split. And earlier, we heard a train come behind us, and that's part of our where that transition happened, and back then that issue was that our tribes didn't have a lot of options, and the people back east, they're the ones who come out here thinking that they know what's best for the tribes. But as people, as community members, we need to make each other aware. And in these times, the vision that the brother Myron had and his brother Josh, it's something that goes back generations to where we had runners. We had runners that went from village to village to go spread that message that, hey, there's something coming, be aware. And so after that split, after the reservation, all that stuff, those things were no longer allowed, and we were given little things, in return. But we need to know our rights. We need to know these things that are out there. We need to be aware. And in this way, we're walking in those footsteps that our ancestors walked. And we want to carry this forward. Sort of like, let me tell you about my dreams, not my nightmares. And so right now we're in the point where it's all about the youth, and it's all about spreading that message to our young people, and how we're going to take a stance against these extraction industries, because us as Native people, as caretakers of the land, it's our responsibility to look after those things. And those are our instructions. Those are the teachings that we carry. And it's an honor to be in this circle that we're in today, because there's a lot that's, we have young people, we have our elders, and we have our runners. And today is a good day, because
we started out, it was snowing and it was windy, but once we got out to where we were going to start running, it opened up and it turned blue skies. And so right now that's where we're at. That's a little bit about the Peehee Mu'huh and anything else. Just ask. I hope.
Yeah. Well, we're closing in on just the last minute of this segment, and I wanted to take a moment, too, to let people know that you can follow Prayer Horse Ride 2023 on social media, on Facebook. They're live now for their day 6 with an update, and they've got really great drone footage of the runners and the horses and the group as they are carrying on through the cold and the wind and the snow in Nevada. And, our prayers are with you and Oak Flat and all of the things that you are there and standing for. We have many similar fights all over the nation. Here in Minnesota, the Ojibwe and Dakota have similar fights. So miigwech for you for joining us, and we hope to get an update when you arrive at Peehee Mu'huh.
I'd like to mention one more thing, if I can. I just want to let everybody know that we're having a pre-trial for my brother's court, April 11th. It's going to be at the Tonopah District Court. And I encourage everybody to call in and get on the Zoom and show the support. The man that had killed my brother still hasn't seen the inside of a jail cell. He wants to do a plea deal.
Okay.
But we don't want to do a plea deal. We want accountability.
Oh, all right. Hey, we'll be right back. Thanks, you guys. We're going to check in again with you later. This is Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and we'll be right back after this short break. Please stay with us.
J&S Bean Factory is a Native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Take care of your community by joining Metro Transit's Adopt a Stop program. Show your community pride by adopting a transit stop. Join us in helping keep the stop and your neighborhood beautiful and report any maintenance needs to us. We'll put a sign at the stop recognizing your efforts, plus you'll get 10 free rides every month. Get details at metrotransit.org/adopt. Again, adopt a stop for Metro Transit.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
The Senior Linkage Line is a free statewide service of the Minnesota Board on Aging in partnership with Trellis. I have volunteered with seniors nearly 15 years, working alongside their compassionate team. I am honored to partner with Trellis as we help our elders find housing, compare costs of Medicare prescriptions, and learn how to avoid fraud and scams targeting seniors. We help our elders optimize well-being as they age, and we can help you too. Reach out today at trellisconnects.org.
It's an absolute must for any true foodie. Vinaigrette at 50th and Xerxes in South Minneapolis offers premium oils and vinegars for the most discriminating of tastes. This is Sarah Piepenberg, owner of Vinaigrette. We bottle on site, there's no guesswork, and you get to taste test each and every oil and vinegar we offer. Our direct relationship with the growers ensures an uncompromised level of satisfaction. When you need to know you're cooking with the finest ingredients, first contact the independently owned Vinaigrette, 50th and Xerxes in South Minneapolis. Online at vinaigrettemn.com.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. To avoid gimmicks, and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067 or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
Hey, this is Brad Friedman, your friendly investigative blogger, journalist, troublemaker, and all-around swell fellow, says me, from bradblog.com. Join me and Desi Doyen weeknights on AM 950. 1 hour of interviews, analysis, news, and snark that you need but won't get from the corporate media. Join me for the Bradcast, Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. on AM 950.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for clear skies tonight with a low around 17, Friday sunny with a high near 45, and Saturday partly sunny with a high around 43. Cafe Latte is a hotspot for American eats and house-made desserts in a cafeteria-style setup, plus a pizza and wine bar. Cafe Latte believes ingredients matter, so that's why they never use artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives. Dine in at the restaurant off Victoria and Grand at St. Paul, or place a takeout order at cafelatte.com.
This is Winona LaDuke of Honor the Earth, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio. I'm Awake.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by the Native American Community Development Institute.
Hey, what a coincidence. Hey, we are here with Robert Lilligren, the CEO of Native American Community Development Institute. And Robert, welcome. I saw you at the Capitol. Things are happening, a lot of excitement. Great to have you on. Maybe we can start out and talk a little bit about that, and then talk some national politics after that, maybe in the next segment. Welcome.
Yeah, bonjour, Robert, bonjour. So good to be here. It seems like it's been a while. You've had so much going on. It's been really rich programming here, and so I guess you had to go a little deeper on the bench tonight with me.
Yeah. Well, you're always our. Well, I always enjoy, and I know people listen to our conversations, and we are excited to have you here, and really excited about what's happening here in Minnesota with the 16 organizations and
Right.
our own
So
Mary Kunesh.
Oh yeah, Senator Kunesh. Yeah, so you're talking about what we call the Urban Indian Legacy Initiative, or UILIULE, and it's a very collaborative and sort of indigenized way of 16 organizations coming together to seek significant capital investments into our facilities here in the urban Indian community. And we've been around since many of these were founded by what I call our founders, the sort of founders of AIM generation, and they're old. A lot of them were never buildings that were in great shape. They're leaky, they're dangerous in some cases. And so we're trying to attract sufficient capital investment from the state in our facilities. And it's been really a trip. And it was great seeing you at the rally on the Capitol. I thought that went really well. And Robert, were you there for the press conference earlier in the day as well?
No, I was running around doing some lobbying myself, as you know, so before that. But yeah, no, but I heard it was great, and I saw the preview of that, and yeah.
Yeah, it was great. There was a lot of media interest, and it's just an example of a couple of things that I think are really positive about the community here. And one of them is that it's Native driven, right? This is us steering our narrative and us being clear about what we want and what we need from our state legislature. The collaborative nature of this is really amazing. And the first year, this is our second time around bringing these asks to the Capitol, and this effort builds on, I'd say about a decade now of real intention amongst the urban Indian orgs here in the Twin Cities to kind of throw off that yoke of colonization that encourages us to view each other as competitors, and distrustful, and to really join together in an indigenous way and support each other. And so last time we came, we had prioritized our projects. We made the strategic decision this time around, this session, not to do that. And it's, we're taking this sort of all or nothing approach. And the attitude is we're not going to let the legislature divide us. And so we've been holding strong in the conversation amongst the organizations is amazing as we try to figure out how not to get picked off one by one. And and things like that. And I just really want to thank a couple of younger emerging leaders, or they're not really emerging anymore, but Dr. Joe Hobart of the American Indian OIC, right here on the American Indian Cultural Corridor in Minneapolis, and then Marissa Cummings at the Minnesota Indians Resource Center. And she's the chair of our Metropolitan Urban Indian Directors, our regional leadership organization. And man, though they and some of the other Native leaders here have just really been putting their nose to the grindstone and getting people, just keeping us moving. It's just amazing to see. What did you think of the rally, Robert?
I love the rally. One of the things we played the governor's speech, and him and the lieutenant governor. I can't believe how well of speakers they are without any cards or anything. He spoke for 6 minutes, and he
Oh,
hit
amazing.
almost every point.
Yep.
And I thought that was amazing.
It is amazing, and I really was impressed by the two young speakers at the rally that spoke about their own experience with all of these organizations, the impact that these organizations had on them and their families. And they were great. It just really does my heart well when I see young emerging voices like that in our community.
Absolutely. And one of the points that I always like to hear, and that's the way it should be, is one of the young warriors that spoke. She spoke about using these, getting help from these organizations, and now she's working for one of the organization. 10 years later.
Right, right. I thought that was really something. And when we're talking about the impacts of colonization, forced assimilation, genocide, it's not something that you can fix in a day, right? It's something that may take a generation to fix or something. And I thought that young sister's story was so powerful. And she talked about her experience as a little girl,
Right.
when a house fire rendered their family homeless. I think they had benefited from maybe half a dozen of the organizations she referenced, and things like job training and job placement and all these other sort of asset-based approaches. It was really impressive. And now she's working for one of the orgs. And I just thought that's that generational kind of cadence that really brings me hope. And I connected with her afterward. I'd never met her before, and so I was really happy to meet her. Look forward to supporting her, promoting her. She was quite a speaker.
Right. Yeah, we'll have to get her on, because what's really fun is I've known her as a younger person, kind of powwows,
Okay.
and always say hi and kind of joke around. But then, and I ate lunch too with her prior to the 1 o'clock meeting, and
Oh, great.
we were just, joking around, and it's just like, next thing I know, she's up there, talking to hundreds and hundreds of people about her life
Yeah.
experience. It's like, wow.
And up and talking beautifully. Both those young speakers. The second brother, I think he was from Red Lake, and I thought his remarks were very powerful, and he told his story, and and then was really open and upfront about his journey away from a journey to sobriety.
Right.
And I thought that was really, really something. And then he talked about what he does for a living now, where he is a peer support specialist,
Right.
and helping others on their recovery, their roads to recovery. And he talked about how that reinforces his own sobriety, which I thought was really profound, and that that you could just hear in his voice how proud he was of the work that he's doing, and that really moved me too.
The longer you give it away to keep it, the longer you'll stay sober. And it was good to hear him say that, and you could feel it in his words. And it's cool too, because he's more able to help somebody that's struggling right now than somebody like me with 38 years of sobriety. I mean, people can see 5 years, or talk to a young person. How did you do it? And it's like, oh, you're old. You probably
Right.
you drink too much cough syrup or something.
But I mean, your point is well taken. And then the very next day, I was in a regular community meeting we have, putting strategies together to support our relatives who are living unsheltered, living without shelter, and who are struggling with opioid use. This is a meeting that's been going on for 3 years, continuously through COVID and everything, and we work on short-term, mid-term, long-term strategies. And we had someone from a huge healthcare provider here who's putting together a pilot project funded by the state health department. And they need that direct community interface. So they really found it in this group that we have meeting. But one of the big things that lifted up, again, they're doing it at the White Earth Urban Office, is this peer support and peer navigation, and just how important that is. And as we know, a Native person is going to respond so much better to another Native.
Or a Native ally too, because when Wendy worked at the University of Minnesota, and I just got to tell the story for her, and I think you probably even heard it, is that, she would have somebody come in that just found out they had some problems going on, and she would ask them what nation they were with, and then they kind of perked up, and then she would say, my husband's Ho-Chunk, and it knocked down a lot of walls. But to see somebody that looks like you is an amazing thing for knocking walls down.
Yeah. And you had mentioned, referenced the governor's speech and talking for 6 minutes, and he hit all the right points, like you said. But then also, sort of outside of that, that ecosystem, he's really pushing things to the national dialogue, and with this trifecta of Democrats that control our state, both our houses and our governor's office, those guys are tearing it up. And they are governing for efficiency and always lifting up what democratic leadership can do for lives in a state. And Michigan's kind of moving into that. And then as we move into 2024, that's going to be powerful messages.
The other message too is what they were saying about that people are watching us in Minnesota and what we're doing. And I think you're kind of alluding to that, but that was powerful. That was said a few times during the day.
And if you look generationally, right back to the founders, the founding of AIM, the founding of our agencies, the real establishment of a fairly visible urban Indian community here. And so now what do we do? And so we were leading, in activism and advocacy. And so now sort of next gen, right? We're getting into the systems, infiltrating, changing the rules to benefit us more. And I agree that not a lot of this is happening in other communities. Some is, but in the urban community, there are just specific challenges to getting this kind of unity and collaboration.
Exactly. Hey, Robert, we got another segment with you, and we'll be talking. We can finish up on this because there's a lot more to talk about. Exciting, hearing the drum and hearing Clyde Belcourt's name again, and his son was there. Just a lot of great things that happened. Hey, you're listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm here with Robert Lilligren, CEO of Native American Community Development Institute. We'll be right back. Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Take care of your community by joining Metro Transit's Adopt a Stop program. Show your community pride by adopting a transit stop. Join us in helping keep the stop and your neighborhood beautiful, and report any maintenance needs to us. We'll put a sign at the stop recognizing your efforts, plus you'll get 10 free rides every month. Get details at metrotransit.org/adopt. Again, adopt a stop for Metro Transit.
Native American rights are on the ballot April 4th. Vote for Judge Janet Protasewicz. She values Wisconsin's tribes as sovereign nations and recognizes Native rights with fairness and integrity. Judge Janet understands the importance of issues such as missing and murdered Indigenous women, treaty rights, and hunting and gathering. We deserve someone that knows these things matter. In-person early voting begins March 21st. Check your municipality's early voting schedule at vote.wisdoms.org or call the Voter Protection Hotline at 608 336 3232. You can register to vote at the polls on Election Day with a photo ID and proof of residence. Your tribal ID can be used as a photo ID to vote. Stand up for your people. Vote for someone who will stand up for you and stand up for Native rights. Vote for Judge Janet Protasewicz for Wisconsin Supreme Court.
Paid for by the Democratic Party of Wisconsin as an in-kind to Janet for Justice.
Bijou, I am Oshawashko Gijig. I'm from Red Lake Nation, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations. Howl!
Hey, I noticed you took your glasses off to howl, Robert. That was very sacred. Hey, I'm here with Robert Lilligren of Native American, the CEO of Native American Community Development Institute here in the Twin Cities, Minnesota. Minneapolis, and on the Native corridor in Minneapolis, discussing the great things and the momentum that the urban initiative here has going on, named after Clyde Belcourt. And it's a long time coming, and it's a good thing. And it was really good to hear from Clyde's son, too.
Agreed. That was really meaningful. So here we've been looking for different ways to honor Clyde Belcourt, his wife Peggy, who both walked on fairly recently, and there's been a lot going on, and there's still a lot of conversation about ways to make sure that we're honoring Clyde, Peggy, and really this whole founding generation. But the Urban Indian Legacy Initiative is named for Clyde Belcourt. So it's the Clyde Belcourt Urban Indian Legacy Initiative, and then his son was there to speak, and it was so powerful and very emotional. It was very emotional because we didn't. It wasn't that long ago that Clyde walked on, and so it's still very, very fresh. But that generational through line, I think it's so important to lift up.
Yeah, really, and it's really good. And we were talking about before the last segment ending how important it is to have the drum there and our singers, and that gets emotional, but for many different reasons for many different people.
Right, and so I have this place that I always park when I go to the Capitol. It's a little bit of a ways away, so you're a few steps in, but it's always been my kind of spot. And so as I was walking toward the Capitol, I could hear that drum from blocks and blocks away, and it's just like, yeah, I'm coming. It was like calling me in. I'm sure lots of others. It was out in the sort of, what do you call those, porticos or whatever, the entry part of the Capitol. Our Capitol is gorgeous and huge. So there's this big open space, and the sound was just blasting out over the mall, and it was moving.
Well, and there's a lot of stuff going on at the Capitol too that has to do with Native Americans directly or indirectly too, and that's been exciting to see. Whether it's the new bill for our own Minnesota ICWA bill that was passed, which is huge, especially with the scary stuff with the Supreme Court coming, Robert.
Right. I think that, so it's putting ICWA protections in place at the state level in case ICWA is overturned at the federal level, overturned by the Supreme Court. And, once again, Senator Mary Kunash is leading the charge. We have our wonderful Native caucus there. I'm trying to remember how many it is now, 5 or 6 women strong that are pushing these things. And so it demonstrates the importance of having that place at the table, of some of our people being willing to go into these really unwelcoming spaces, and then we as a community supporting them. And I think that I'm trying to remember what they call the bill, the Minnesota ICWA bill, but it's I think it only had 1 dissenting vote in the Senate or something like that, which is amazing, and I really think shows the strength of our Native representation at the Capitol.
Absolutely, and you've probably, in all the committees that you are, and we've joked about how many you're in, but you're always teaching about, Native Americans, and people wanna know, and people, wanna be allies, and they wanna do things in a good way,
Right.
so, it's
Right.
important to be out there like you
Yeah.
are.
Thanks. That's very kind, Robert. And I just had a great opportunity this last week. So I serve as an officer of this our city, Minneapolis's Convention and Visitors Association that does destination management, and it's kind of it focuses a lot on downtown, but it's really for the whole city. But it's sort of the downtown people, right? The shakers and movers. And we had our annual meeting. Uh, last week, and we unveiled our land acknowledgement for the first time, and it's a good one. But my point is always, land acknowledgements, great step, great awareness building, and then what? What's the action? What's the plan? And so I was invited to speak. We opened the event with a song. We had a young Dakota brother, Austin Owen, who
Oh.
honored us with a song, and it was wonderful. And then our outgoing chair read the land acknowledgement for the first time in public. And then I was invited to speak, and I was given, whatever, 3, 4 minutes. And I kept checking with the leadership and everything. I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to say. Is that okay? Is that okay?
Mhm.
And so I really was able to lay it down in an authentic way, and just say, talk about everyone's responsibility to do something to address the trauma of colonization, genocide. I got to use, words like genocide at lunchtime, and I mean, and I thought I was going to be really heavy. I was expecting to hear some gasps in the crowd and stuff, but the response across the board, native, non-native, people really appreciated it. And our theme was shake it up and authentic conversations, and it ended up being just the right way to start the annual meeting, and to educate people, right? There are people
Right.
that don't know anything about that, so
Right.
about that
Right.
history.
Well, it's interesting. I think, a lot of organizations are trying. The Cleveland baseball team changed their name, and then with big pressure, the Washington football team changed their name. Uh, we have our store, a micro store at the Twins game all season this year, and
Oh,
so
very cool.
but that's another of a little opening in the crack of the door to have us step through in a good way.
Right, you're exactly right. And it's not just happening, accidentally, right? This has been
Right.
years and years of strategy, of aligning messages, of Native people deliberately reclaiming their narrative. But and I think one of the points I made when I spoke to this annual meeting, it's like 550 influencers from downtown Minneapolis, and was that Native people know what we want. We can steer our narrative, and then the broader community needs to hear that and act. And I lifted up the name change Epidemicoska here
Yeah.
in Minneapolis, that was formerly named after a slaveholder. It was kind of odious, and there was a big movement that launched in the Native community, really centered around descendants of the people that used to live on the shores of that lake. But then the broader
Yeah.
community heard that and responded and acted. And so the name got changed. It was a multi-year process, but now it's Epidemicoska, and everyone knows how to pronounce it.
Right, it took me a little bit. My old junior high here in St. Paul was, changed, Robert, to, from Ramsey, because we live in Ramsey County, which
Yep.
is the same thing with Calhoun, except I heard it would cost so much to, change the name of a county, but they changed the name of, my, junior high to Hidden River,
Oh,
junior
lovely. I didn't.
like,
Okay, very
it's
cool.
amazing. So, inch by inch, things are happening and, in a good way, and, we just gotta keep amplifying and speaking up and putting forth the women and our young ones to speak for us too.
That's it exactly. And a little bit of work, and we've talked about this before, that my organization has been doing is down in the Central Riverfront in the city of Minneapolis. This very desirable little area that helps define Minneapolis, we grew up around the falls. That we were, the city was, and of course there were thousands of years of history there beforehand. And so the leadership of this effort, we're committed to putting this whole project under Native control. Hopefully it'll end up with the land going under Native control. And just in the last few months, there's been a transfer. The organization's board, which was some of the richest people in Minneapolis, is now a majority Native. The new CEO of the organization is Shelley Buck, who is an elected official in the Prairie Island community. She's vice president of the tribe, and she's working right in this place. And so that was our work, was to get it to that point, to set that table, and now we'll see where it goes. Now that really is under Native control.
Great update as always, Robert. Peehee Mu'huh for being on. We'll see you next week, and I'll see you in the community, which is always awesome to see you running around just like I am. Hey, if you're listening to the show, you are part of the resistance. From Chief Plentycoops, the ground on which you stand on is sacred ground. Free Leonard Peltier now.
Hey everyone, Ellie Krug here with Ellie 2.0 Radio on AM 950 on